Canines are our passion. They are our addiction. They are our way of life, right down to the very core. And without them, we would be lost. The canines of this world really are something to behold. They assist us at work. They accompany us at home. And they perform for us in the field. No matter where we go, they are by our side. Canines really are a ride or die, and for that, we are grateful. This podcast will showcase working canines of various breeds and disciplines as we search for those canines and their handlers who are always striving to be the best at what they do. Those who are always grinding. Those who are always pushing the limits. Those who are always dogging. Join us on our adventures as it is sure to be a wild ride. I'm your host, Bryce Matthews.
And I'm your co-host, Stephen Basham.
And this is Semper Doggin'. The Semper Doggin' podcast is proudly presented to you by Froggy Bottom Outdoors. Froggy Bottom Outdoors is the newest outdoor and hunting supply, habitat management, and livestock feed provider in the Midwest. With a wide variety of products, a unique business model, and a dedicated team of individuals who are eager to provide their customers with an unparalleled shopping experience, you will not have to search any further than Froggy Bottom Outdoors. With brands such as Garmin, Yoder Nylon, Banks Hunting Blinds, Razor Hunting Gear, Purina Mills, Kalmbach Feeds, Anuksha, Real World Products, and many more, Froggy Bottom Outdoors has you covered from the farm to the woods. Visit FroggyBottomOutdoors.com today and follow them on Facebook to see how they can help you. Not finding what you're looking for online? No problem. Feel free to give the store a call at 765-330-2098. The team at Froggy Bottom Outdoors is excited to get to know you and would be glad to answer any questions you may have. Welcome to another episode of the Semper Doggin' podcast. Basham and I are getting together here, first time in a while, do a little recording. And tonight we've got a decently special guest, I guess you could call him.
If you call him that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we might be scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to figure this guest out and who we can get on here, but we've got one for you guys. So tonight, we are going to be talking with my middlest boy, Colton Rorvik. Colton, how are you tonight, buddy?
I'm good.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
Are you nervous?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, you better...
How old are you, Colton?
I'm 12.
Well, you better scoot up to the mic there so we can hear you. There it is.
12 years old.
12 years old.
For the listeners a little bit, me and Bryce were kind of going over and over about, what we were going to do for our next podcast. And I had this thought, with Bryce really pushing this youth hunt and with Nikki doing such a good job and putting together prize packages and everything, I thought we would do a youth spotlight. And what better person to do it with than somebody that's, won quite a bit. He's right there in the household, easy to get to. And furthermore, it goes kind of right along the lines of what me and Bryce talked about in the very beginning, and that is creating memories. And what better way to create a memory between a dad and his son than to get him on a podcast and talk about it. Yeah,
man, I'm pretty pumped about it. So, the hunt that Basham just referenced there that Nikki and I have been putting a ton of work into is the Indiana State Youth Hunt. And when this episode airs, that hunt will be tomorrow. So this episode is going to come out on Friday, July 12th. And that hunt is going to be on July 13th. That is the Indiana State Youth Hunt, the UKC Indiana State Youth Hunt. So we're going to dive into that here in a little bit as far as when all that is going to be, all the information for times, deadlines, the events that are going on, what all we've got going for prize packages there. But like Basham said, we kind of wanted to get somebody on here who's been in the youth series for quite a while. He knows what he's doing. This kid was hunting before I came along. And it's just been really fun to watch him grow in how he's been hunting and the dogs that he's handled. And, you know, when I came along, I mean, heck, he wasn't, 8 years old? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I think he was 8, just getting ready to turn 9, and now he's 12. So, been around for a few years. And, Colt, why don't you tell us a little bit about, like, your first memories of you hunting? Do you remember, like, the first time you went hunting or who you went with?
Yeah, I was with my grandpa. It was me, my grandpa, my brother, and we went to the woods hunting with a leopard dog we had named Shady. And back then, I didn't even have a light.
You didn't have a light. Well, what'd you hunt with?
I just walked by my grandpa. He had a belt light.
And you just had to walk right next to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the listeners, let's break it down to which brother, because we know y'all the Brady bunch, and y'all got plenty of them. So,
Wyatt.
So that would have been Wyatt. So Wyatt's the oldest of the brothers, and you got Colton. He's the middleest, is what I call him. And then you got Owen. He's the youngest.
there you go.
And you guys have been hunting as a family for a long, long time. There's pictures of you guys being toted around on your mom's back like little possums. Did she used to tote you through the woods?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Yeah, for Owen, yeah.
I know she used to tote Owen around, but I figured she would have done the same for you.
I don't know.
All right, so coon hunting's in your blood. Tell us a little bit about maybe your grandpa and the dogs that he used to run, maybe the line of dogs that he used to hunt and he started with.
Wabash River coonhounds. He was into red bones.
Do you remember the red bone that he did a bunch of winning with?
There's one named Tarzan. That's the only one that I can remember his name.
That's the one I was thinking of, Tarzan.
Yeah.
So how did you get into walker dogs? Because as long as I've known you, you've been a walker man.
That's just the first dog I got.
So, okay. So you hunted the leopard that your grandpa had too, Shady. That's the one you kind of started with.
Shady.
Yeah, actually, that's my first dog I had.
Okay. And she was a multi-purpose hound, correct?
Correct.
You could take her to all the events and you could compete in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you like to do? Do you like to compete in all the events?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so guys, when we say all the events, when we go to these UKC hunts, Colton is the kid that will have us paying entry fees for everything. And that is the bench show, the water race, the treeing contest, the night hunt, the field trial, all the above. Colton is going to be in the middle of the action. So, Shady, could you enter her into all those events?
Yes.
And which one was she best at?
The water race.
Water race, that's interesting. Basham, what was your favorite event whenever you were going through these youth hunts?
Oh, I'm a lot like Colton, except for there was one.
The
and
roll
you have not
cage.
mentioned it. You have not mentioned it.
The roll cage?
The roll cage.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
See, that's before his time.
Yes, it is. So what the roll cage is, Colton, is back whenever I was young, UKC hunts. Every UKC hunt was like what you're about to experience at the youth days. It was an all-day event. You had field trial, you had treeing contests, you had bench shows, you had it all. And then we had the roll cage. And what you would do is you'd take a roll cage, a circular cage with a coon in it, and you'd spray a dot on the ground, and you'd take 10-foot tape measure, and you'd put it on the dot, and then you'd make a circle all the way around the dot, spray painting a line, and you'd hold the dog outside of the circle. And when the judge said go, you turn your dog loose. And the dog that could get the roll cage out of the circle the fastest was the winner. So we had this old blue tick, and he never lost a roll cage contest, because what he would do is he'd take off running and he'd hit that roll cage right where the metal hits the dirt, and that roll cage would fly in the air, and literally it'd be out of the ring in about a second after we turned him loose.
That's like jumping a cue ball at a pool table.
Yes, exactly what it looked like. Exactly what it looked like. But the first time I remember Colton was actually at the EKC hunt up at Russ Beller's silo.
Funny story. I'm going to jump in here.
Nope.
You met Colton before I met Colton.
Yes, I did. Yep, he was hunting shady. Yep, it was me, him. I don't remember. Oh, no. It was me, him, Van Cleek, and his boy, and, Kickstart My Heart.
Nick Brady.
Nick Brady and his boy. And Nick was hunting his dog. They didn't last too long because he shot through the world and got over on a busy highway. And his boy was only like, what was he, Colton? At the time, like 3 or 4. So, I mean, he was young. And I was hunting Old Rock.
Is that when Jocelyn was handling for you?
Yep. That's when the champ.
Colt, do you remember that hunt?
Yeah, it was like my 3rd hunt.
Well, dive into it for us. What do you remember about that? What do you remember about Basham the first time you met him? And don't think just because you're on the mic, you can't speak your mind. You just go ahead and tell it how it is.
I don't really remember him.
How do you not remember this guy? He's big, he's loud, he's obnoxious. How do you not remember him?
I don't know.
It wasn't a very eventful hunt. It really wasn't. We cut the dogs loose, and Nick Brady's dogs shot through to the right. Shady and Rock, and another dog. No, Van Cleek was actually the following night. Van Cleek wasn't that night. We were hunting a red bone, a leopard, Rock, and Nick Brady's dog. We went into the first tree. They had a coon, but Shady decided it was hot. And Shady wanted to be down in the creek cooling off instead of up on the tree. So Colton was like, what do I do? What do I do? I said, well, buddy, if the dog will come up here and bark on the tree, I said, I'll let you go ahead and handle it. But Shady just kept running in the creek because it was scorching that night. And the next night we got poured on. But that night we treed that coon, and then we made two more circle trees, but that was it.
Yeah. So that was your 3rd hunt, and since then you went on to take this coon hunting stuff pretty serious, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had to rank coon hunting against the other sports that you play, wrestling and football, where would you put coon hunting?
Number 1.
Number 1 out of everything. If you had to quit everything else, you'd be a coon hunter?
Yes.
Do you think that's genetic, or do you think that's just because your mom and I now hunt so much?
Well, both, probably. I mean, I like it. It's enjoyable. Really fun.
You like having a good dog.
Yeah.
You're pretty competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I asked Colton before this podcast started to write me down a list of some of his biggest accomplishments, and we're gonna dive into some of these. But first, let's switch things up. Let's go on to something. What you got, Basham?
Actually, we'll go with what you were saying because I was gonna dive into his accomplishments. I wanted to get to one area before we really get into his accomplishments.
Go for it.
But go ahead.
No. Go.
What was your first ever win, and what really stands out?
I think it was at my first win. I think it was at Greencastle.
Okay.
Hey, that's where I got my first win.
Look out! And what dog were you hunting?
Probably Hannah.
You were hunting Hannah. Okay. Do you remember anything?
No, nothing in particular.
Yeah. What is the biggest or the win that really sets, in your mind? Like for me, I was 13 years old and won the Kentucky State Youth Championship, and, I was hunting a dog named Harvey. He looked more like an overgrown beagle than he did a freaking coon dog. And he was meaner than a one-eyed snake. I promise you. Any dog that got on the tree with him, it was over. He was like a little pit bull. He'd run everything off of it. But that was one of my first big wins that I ever had, and it stands out pretty predominantly.
You got a hunt that stands out?
No.
I got a whole list of hunts here, big hunts that you've won, and not one of them is memorable.
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, this kid! I'm telling you, welcome to a life in my household. I'll be like, Colton, when's your birthday? I don't remember.
I know my birthday.
Oh boy.
You know what, Bryce? You know what it is, real quick? I think it's more the new age kids. If they say they don't know or they don't remember, they feel like that they don't have to talk. Jocelyn's the same way. I'll be like, why didn't you do the dishes? Oh, I forgot. Oh, why didn't you do this?
That's
oh,
different.
I forgot.
I actually don't remember.
All right, well let's go. Let's talk about Hannah for a second. Tell us how you got Hannah and why she is so special to you.
Well, I was hunting her. Brooklyn Wood let me hunt her for a while. And then we bought her.
Okay, do you liked her enough that you convinced your mom to buy her for you?
Yeah, pretty well.
Well, what
I really
did you
her.
like about her?
She treated coon.
Okay, so she's accurate.
Yeah.
Does she have a good mouth?
Yeah. I could call her pretty easy with her 27 different barks.
She does have 27 different barks. Guys, there is one dog that I cannot for the life of me call. If I took her to a hunt, I'd be screwed. And that's Hannah. I feel like she sounds different every time I unsnap her.
Huh.
You gotta learn it.
Oh, it kills me. Okay, so with Hannah, you took her as a 4th grader at 9 years old, and you qualified her for the Tournament of Champions.
Yep.
Did you put all 5 of her wins on her yourself?
Well, before we bought her, she had a couple wins, I think. But
you put the 5 on her that year for TOC, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And was that at a bunch of youth events?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, that's one of my first memories of Colton. Is when I first met Nikki, the TOC was rolling around, and he had a dog qualified, and I had went down with Basham the year before and hunted the dog for Basham at the TOC, and I was supposed to hunt another dog this year, but Nikki couldn't make it down to TOC, and Colt had told me that he'd worked really hard to get this dog qualified for TOC. So we went down there to Kentucky, and Colton at 9 years old hunted in the Tournament of Champions, and he drew a stiff cast. He drew world champion legs with Zach Burden. He drew Cody Main with
Trip,
American Power Trip, and
Yep,
he drew
Trip.
He drew one more dog that was a nice hound. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite memories, Colt. Do you remember my favorite memory about this hunt?
Yeah.
All right, tell us what it is, because this cracks me up.
So we got to the woods, got our dogs on, collars on, and when we went to cut them, we snapped them loose.
But hold on, where did you cut him loose at?
A tree line.
A middle of a bean field. And then what?
Well, when we cut them, I immediately struck my dog.
Guys, when he says immediately, I mean the brass snap didn't have time to close yet. And he yells, Hannah struck!
Oh, man.
And I looked at Cody Main, and I looked at Zach Burden, and I'm like, oh boy, what are they going to do here? And Hannah just kept it on going, horse racing down there to the wood line, and they never said a word. Them guys never said anything. And part of me thinks, they were just looking out for a young kid, and I was very grateful for it because he was nervous, boy. He was shaking in his boots. You couldn't get him to stop shaking.
Well, that and in the UKC realm, it's harder. I think you learned, we won't go into the specifics, but I think you learned a few different ways to interpret the rules that World Hunt that you went up there with me on.
Yep.
And in the UKC realm, it's a little harder, honestly, to minus a dog for babbling because the way the rules state is it's where a track isn't evident. And then in the middle of a bean field, as long as she keeps it going for the biggest majority, I mean, how do you say that dog isn't running a coon?
Right. Yep. So it's a little bit harder to minus them in the UKC. But gosh, that was just one of my favorite memories. Is I kept telling him, I was like, you have to get her on the paper, and boy, did he put her on the paper. So after that, you went on, and with Hannah, you made her a Grand Night champion.
Yep.
And then you took her to the duels at Autumn Oaks. And did you have any luck there?
Yeah, I won my cast. The night before, I went to a slam hunt. I won that. So I got $45.
Oh man, watch out.
That's the first cast win where I got paid.
High timing there.
Yeah. And then in the Walker class, I lost immediately.
Oh, so you lost in the show. So the way that the duels works at Autumn Oaks, guys, if you don't know, you have to be a dual champion. So you have to be a champion on the bench and a champion in the woods. And you draw out against dogs of your breed. So you drew out with 3 other walkers. And were you the only kid on that cast?
Yes.
And you went ahead and put it on them, huh?
And I was, the night before, I was also the only kid.
Oh, and you made your $45.
Yes.
What did you do with that $45? Did you spend it wisely?
No. Probably a couple cheeseburgers. Bought some ice cream, because Autumn Oaks has the best ice cream. And probably a T-shirt from a vendor.
A
If you
T-shirt.
bought ice cream at Autumn Oaks, you didn't buy a T-shirt, ice cream, cheeseburgers. No, because that ice cream ain't cheap.
It's like $7 for a full cone, like the big one.
Man, yeah, it's a lot. So, okay.
Speaking,
Well,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
speaking of
Go
which, what are you hunting at duels this year?
Nothing.
Oh, Spitter Spot needs a handler.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he does.
Spot's a champion on the bench?
Yes,
Oh boy.
he's a champion Grand Night.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
we'll just have to see if I'm recovered yet from the wedding. The wedding's on Tuesday.
Well, man, you got 2 nights after that.
It's going to be a party. Cole, are you excited for the wedding?
Yeah.
Like, how excited?
Like a 9.5 out of 10.
I'll take it.
Man, Colton, I wouldn't be. I'd tie a rope around his neck, hook a freaking brick to it, and throw him in the creek across the river.
Cole, you're not that mean, are you?
Depends.
It does depend. All right, let's get back to the dogs. Okay, so you've won all that with Hannah so far, but it keeps going. So you then, in 2022, you were the first kid to do what in UKC history?
I won both categories of the Spotlight Series, the show and hunt portion.
Okay, and explain to the listeners how that works, because that is not a one-day event.
So there's like, throughout the year, there's a race for the most cast wins, and you get points for each cast win. And it's the same with the show. You win the show, you get points. And I won both of them, so
Is that pretty neat?
yeah.
Now, I mean, that was not just in Indiana. I mean, that's all over the country. Right?
Yes.
Like, do you remember how many states you went to competing in this?
Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. I think there was.
Was West Virginia in there?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, no, not West Virginia.
You don't know anymore?
Illinois.
Illinois, okay.
Yeah.
So you were the first kid to win both of them in the same year, guys. That was pretty neat. He got awarded that, and he got these 2 big trophies. He's got 2 big jackets, and it's one of my favorite pictures. He's got his party in the back, mullet flowing, a nice button-up shirt. Got Hannah all posed up there. I mean, looking good. Were you feeling good that day?
Yeah.
What else happened that day? Because something else happened on that same exact day where you got awarded all this stuff.
I won the bench show
Where at?
at Youth National, the 2022 Youth Nationals. So there's like 2 different age ranges. 13, you're considered a senior, and then 12 and under, you're a junior. So I think I was 10.
Yeah, I think you were 10.
And I won my half, and then Katie Wood, lives in Peru. She won the senior.
Yeah, so they awarded that spotlight series at Youth Nationals. So right after he went out and won, got his awards for his Youth for Spotlight Series, he goes out on the bench and he wins the Youth National Championship on the bench.
Oh, Peru swept it.
Peru had a clean sweep.
Yep, Peru swept it.
Absolutely. So then, let's see here. I'm trying to read his handwriting. Oh, what did you win in 2023 at Youth Nationals? Was it Youth Nationals? It says the Indiana Grand Champion, male. Oh, that was the Indiana State.
Yeah, the Indiana State Youth.
Yes, that's when that was.
I won the Grand Champion male.
So last year,
Yes.
at the Indiana State Youth, you won the Grand Champion male.
Yep.
All right.
The judge was Tiffany Adkins.
So you remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Lord help you.
And then I think in the same year, you were the AKC Reserve Indiana State Champion.
Yeah.
Now, that wasn't a youth hunt, right?
Or
was it?
No, I don't think so.
So, Reserve State Champion for the AKC Indiana State.
Look out.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So obviously, Colton was brought up in this coon hunting world. I think whenever you really look at people in our sport where it was handed down generation to generation, I think, we've talked about it up at Autumn Oaks. The Elburns are notorious for that. They had a picture of Nikki and Andy in strollers at Autumn Oaks, and their dad is obviously very predominant in the UKC world, in the coon hunting world, and to be able to pass it down like they have to Colton and Owen and all the girls, with all their wins, I think it's pretty special to be able to take a hobby and pass it on to your kids and for them to enjoy it like you do. And I think that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So obviously this last weekend, there's 3 generations competing across the country. So we kind of divided and conquered, and Curtis went down to North Carolina, and him and Andy went down there, and they were showing in the Saluda Coon Dog Days.
Yep.
And Peyton, which is Andy's daughter, she was showing down there. And so Curtis won reserve, Andy won the whole thing, and then Peyton was the overall youth. So they had a clean sweep down there at Saluda Coon Dog Days.
Yep.
And then Owen hunted in his first youth event this last weekend, and he got champion male in the show, and he won grand champion male. And then he took old Wheelie Bar Squealy Bar out, and he was the overall high-scoring junior division champion. So we had 3 generations this weekend going out and competing and bringing home a little bit of hardware.
Well, Colton's sitting back there shaking his head.
Yeah, because Owen's sitting in the kitchen. He's just grinning ear to ear like a possum sitting up in the first fork of a tree. He likes hearing this kind of stuff. But there's one more win that Colton just put a notch in his belt on, and I'm going to let him tell you about it, because when I got the call about this, I don't think his head fit in the door when he come home for the next week. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Seats.
Yeah, I won the Kids World in Brazil, Indiana.
So tell us a little bit about that. What all did that entail? Because that was a full-day event in order to secure that championship, that world championship.
Yeah, world championship. Mm-hmm. So there's...
he had to make sure he had to correct you there.
Oh, he's corrected me 10 times. He's like, you only got 5th in the world. I got 1st. I'm a world champion. You're not. It's still going on.
It says it in the name. Kids World.
All right, well, tell us how that went.
Well, I did not win the hunt.
Well, hold on. Start at the very beginning. Because you handled a dog that day that you'd never handled.
Yeah, Reba. I think it's like something Rocket Reba. She's a she's a bench show champion, night champion, field champion, water champion.
And how did you acquire Reba for the day? How did you get hooked up with her?
'Cause Mike Seats.
Mike Seats. So she's an English female. We know Mike's going to be toting around a good English dog.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first event of the day. What was it?
As the bench show, I got with Reba. I went in. I got champion female. A show, I think.
Are you struggling to remember?
Yes.
Okay, so you won your class in the bench.
Yeah. Then it was the water race, which Reba was the only dog that swam.
So you won the water race.
Yeah,
And so win this world championship, it was an accumulation of points.
Yeah.
Correct? It was an all-around event.
Mm-hmm.
So you needed a dog that could do all the events.
Yes.
Okay, let's go on to the field trial. What happened there?
Well, I was the only dog in my I was the only champion dog. I didn't get a tree. I got line, so I technically won. But then, the next round, with all the dogs that won their heat raced, Reba got second line, I think. Then she ran into the pond because it was scorching hot.
I heard it got dangerously hot that day.
Yeah. One dog went into shock
Got
and laid in the
overheated?
pond.
Yeah, that was a bad deal.
True.
It was like 92 degrees or something that day. In the middle of the day in the sun. Nikki was texting me saying, God, these dogs they're getting so hot. Okay, so then you went to the night hunt and you didn't have any luck there.
No, we cut the dogs. Both dogs got struck and treed. Then Reba was struck. She wasn't struck, but I could hear her. But she was 500 in a holler, and the judge couldn't hear, so they recut their dogs. Then one got struck and treed. Then the other one was struck. So, but they both had plus on their first trees, and the dog that got treed again was circled. Then the dog that was just struck in never got treed. Reba, we finally got to a field to where the judge can hear. Then I struck her in. Then we walked closer to her. Then I struck my dog. Treed my dog. Then we went to her, and she left the tree.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible news.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you had accrued enough points to win the Kids World Championship.
Yeah, because you got 1 point just to enter.
Okay, so you got a point to enter, and then you got a point for all your wins in the show and in the water race and in the field trial.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, there was a treeing contest, but you didn't get any points.
Okay. Well, how'd you do in the treeing contest?
Well, I didn't do it.
Oh, you just didn't do it?
No.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. I wasn't there for that hunt. That was one hunt that I didn't get to go to. What was I doing that night?
You're at a cattle show.
Oh, that's right. I went up to a cattle show with Curtis that day up in Michigan. We had to divide and conquer. I forgot about that.
You didn't conquer, though.
Well,
You just divided.
there was nothing for Kurt and I to conquer. We were just there observing.
Oh, I got you.
Okay, so is there any other than being a world champion and a state champion and qualifying for the TOC? What is next, Colt? What's the next thing that you want to put a notch in your belt?
I want to qualify for TOC again and win that.
Okay.
I want to win all of it.
All right, well, let's think short term here. What is the hunt that is going to be tomorrow when this comes out?
The Indiana State Youth.
Okay, and let's talk about that for a minute. So, what dog are you going to be competing with in the Indiana State Youth?
4 different dogs.
Okay, 4 different dogs. So they're doing they're doing the Indiana State Youth as a round robin event. Okay? Now, this round robin event is not based upon the dog. It is based upon the handler. So, you can use a different dog for every event if you so choose. So, at 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 13th, at the Miami County Fairgrounds in Peru, Indiana, we are going to be having the bench show, 2 p.m. At 4 p.m., we're going to be having the water race. At 6 p.m. will be the treeing contest. And at 9 p.m. will be the night hunt. So we have 4 different events that you can accumulate points in. And Colton is telling us he's going to be using 4 different dogs. Break it down for us, Colt. Who you got?
Well, the bench show, I'm hunting Wabash River Lost Highway.
You mean showing?
What did I say?
Hunting.
Oh. Showing
Yep.
Wabash River Lost Highway and Wipeout Bull Wheels.
Okay, so you're showing a national champion at the Indiana State Youth. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. Breaking out the big guns, I guess. And then you're showing a registered dog, Wheels.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Because he's ugly.
What? You just called my dog ugly, Basham.
Have you seen him?
I mean, you told him when you asked his opinion of me at the very first hunt, you said, keep it real. You said, keep it real and don't hold back. So he's only keeping it real and not holding back.
Yeah, Bryce.
I guess. Goodness, I should have foreshadowed what was going to happen. He just called my dog ugly. Hey, I'll just have you know, he showed against 5 other dogs this weekend with Owen handling, and he won. How's that make you feel, Colt?
It makes me feel like I'm going to win.
All right.
Maybe other people don't think he's ugly.
Okay. All right. So, what about the water race? Who are you handling in the water race?
I don't know if I'm handling in the water race. I might be. Oh, yeah. Reba.
How can you forget the dog that has got you so far?
Well, I was thinking of different dogs.
Okay, so you're handling Reba in the water race.
Yep. Team CNR.
Team CNR. Go ahead and tell the listeners about Team CNR, because I've about had enough of this Team CNR stuff.
Team Colton and Reba.
I mean, do you have any special plans for Team CNR?
Yeah, we're going to make shirts. And I'm going to give you one.
You're going to give me one.
No.
And you're gonna wear it.
Colton. Hey, Colton, you got to make him buy one.
Yeah. And if you don't, I'm taking your credit card.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Man. Yeah, he told me after
I'll buy it for you.
He told me after he won the other day at Redbone Days, he said, Bryce, we won. We're getting shirts made. All right, so the treeing contest, who you going to put in that?
Sadie, one, John, what's his last name, Bryce?
Oh, John, the Redbone man.
John, his dog's name's Sadie.
Gosh, it's slipping my brain, too.
It's
He lives right up here next to us. John, I'm sorry if you're listening to this.
It doesn't have an S.
Boy.
I'm sorry.
It's John Strout.
No, that's not it. No.
Oh, well.
No, well.
Move on.
All right, what about the night hunt?
Wheels.
Hunting old Wheels, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you have a chance in the night hunt?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's on a win streak.
He is on a win streak. He's looking all right.
You know what?
You
Hey,
hunted
Owen,
him. I hunted him. Last time I hunted him, we won. Last time you hunted him, you won. Owen just
You
won.
know what happens if you lose, don't you, Colton?
Yep, it's Bryce's fault.
It's always my fault if something goes awry.
Yep.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to keep the dog hunted up, and Colton's going into this planning on you doing the hard work, and keeping this dog hunted up. He says he's smart. He's back here pointing at his head. He says he's smart by having you do all the hard work.
I guess.
Bryce just drives me to the woods. It's really just me. I mean,
This kid, he's a fibber. All right.
Striking and training my dog.
All right. Well, so he's going to be hunting or utilizing 4 different hounds in the Indiana State Youth this weekend, guys. We hope that every one of you listening who has a youth will come out to the Indiana State Youth. We're giving away $2,000 cash money.
Yep.
Simper Doggin's putting up $500 of that.
Yes, sir. Let's go over your sponsors. Let's give them a good shout out.
Yeah. So Simper Doggin is going to be putting up $500. Colt, will you hold that up for me so I can see that? Sorry, guys. I got to have Colton hold this up for me so I can see all of our sponsors. We have so many of them. Okay. Simper Doggin putting up $500. Cash money. Froggy Bottom Outdoors. They've donated $500 in prizes. We've got Bob O'Neill and his wife, guys. They have been a huge contributor to this hunt. Bob O'Neill and his wife are putting up $1,500 cash for this event. So the way this is going to work, you're going to have $500 to your bench show winner, $500 to your night hunt winner, $500 to your overall round robin winner. And there's going to be one more category where there's going to be $500 given away, and I'm not giving that out yet. So you're going to have to show up and see what that's going to be. Next on the list, we have Next Level Superior Premium Pet Food. They are donating 10 bags of dog feed to this hunt. JC Call, Scott Christensen, he just sent me a box of squallers today. They're coming. Along him and Alan Holding. Alan helped us out with those squallers as well.
Hey, real quick. Let's take a second. Everybody say a prayer for Alan Holding. I know you just brought him up, and not to try to bring a down moment, but it just struck in my head that he's in the hospital and needs our prayers. He had, I believe he had an appendix bust on him, and they had to do emergency surgery. So I know everybody's going to be listening to this in 2 days. Just going ahead and say a quick prayer for Alan Holding and his family in hopes that he will get better and get back with us and get seeing him at some of these hunts.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Al. He's a big supporter of the youth events. So Rafter Eve Family Farmstead, Wabash River Coonhounds, that's Nikki and I. Nikki has put in a ton of work and a ton of effort into this. I can't say that I've done nearly as much as she has, but guys, she loves these youth, and she loves these youth events and seeing this stuff continue on in the tradition. So Nikki has poured her heart and soul into this. I can't say thank you to her enough. We got Team Money, Kevin Cable, Angie Cable. They have helped out a ton. They've donated some stuff to us. Lindsay Morrow, she chipped in for the food for the kids. Thank you, Lindsay. Tippy River Hunting Supply, they donated a few things. The Cundiff family, Kim and Doug Cundiff, they've also donated, as well as Stone Nickel Coonhounds. So I want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. We could not put on this hunt without them. There's a lot that's going on. So I'm very excited about this event that we have coming up. Like I said, when you guys hear this, that event will be tomorrow, July 13th, up in Peru, Indiana. So I know there's another big youth event going on out there that day. Pro Sports putting on their youth event. I've been seeing what Scott Engel, Greg Maynard, those guys have been sharing. So they're going to be putting on a great event as well in Ohio. But we really hope that anybody who is local here to Indiana or wants to travel, get some UKC wins on their dogs. It is a UKC licensed event, so there will be wins going to all your dogs and all of the events. We hope you guys can join us in Peru, Indiana for the Indiana State Youth Hunt. Colt, are you excited?
Yep.
Basham?
I'm excited for you guys. I've got to work.
I know. I wish you were coming up. I wish you were bringing the champ.
I know. I took I just couldn't. Up here at Toyota, they're having a 7-day shutdown, and so I took a short call up here for a week. So
I got you. All right. Well,
be working. But
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I was just going to ask Colt if there's anything else we forgot we need to cover.
I don't know. What does it say?
I went through the list.
Well, a big shout out to Colton and everything that he's done in his career so far in the coon hunting world. Big shout out to Curtis and Nikki and to getting the kids into hunting. I think it's the biggest thing is just nowadays there's just not an exposure for the youth, and so whenever I was thinking about what our next podcast would be, I thought it would be very telling, it would go right along with the Indiana State Youth Hunt to go ahead and have a podcast, do a youth shout out. That's why we got Colton on here. This right here and solidifying our future is by getting the youth involved and making it bigger and better for them, figuring out ways to get them involved and get them excited about a hobby, a tradition, a lifestyle that we all love.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I love taking these boys out. Owen has started to start hunting with me a little bit more again. Wyatt, he's been starting to hunt with me a little bit more. He went through a spell there where he didn't want to be in the woods, but he's been starting out getting out with them dogs, and to have all three of these boys out there with me in the woods, it's a great feeling. So I love it. I love it's something that we can do as a family. Nikki, she goes with me all the time, and I just look forward to watching these boys.
She's usually sleeping though.
Yeah, she likes to sleep in the back seat of the truck when we go, but she's out there. It's a family event. It's something we can all do. We're getting ready to load up and head to Iowa in a couple weeks. Youth Nationals is up there in Iowa, so we're going to be taking, I think, Colton and Owen. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
When is that?
Not this weekend with the Indiana State Youth, but next weekend.
So it's next weekend?
Yep. So that's up in Iowa, so we're going to be making the 7-hour trip up there to Iowa, keep these kids in the woods, and see if we can't do a little good up there at Youth Nationals.
Sounds good. Big shout out to our sponsors, Froggy Bottom Outdoors and Never Satisfied Off-Road, Joey Goforth. Thank you for allowing us to do what we do.
Absolutely. Hey, I got a story before we leave. I'm going to see if Colt wants to tell it or if he wants me to tell it. Speaking of our sponsors and Froggy Bottom Outdoors, so one of my favorite memories of hunting with Colton is with one of our sponsors, Shane Smith.
Oh my gosh.
Are you going to tell this story, Colt, or do I need to tell this story? Because this is a podcast that, maybe this isn't so much for the listeners, but this is, how Basham and I talked about preserving memories. And one day that we'll be able to look back at and listen. And this is a story that I want to be recorded. So I'll give you the option. Either you can tell the story or I can tell the story.
You can tell it.
Okay, here we go. Buckle up. So we are out hunting with Shane Smith. It's me, Nikki, Shane, and Colton on a cold, blistery winter night. And we're over at one of Shane's woods. And we had drove the Ranger over to Shane's house, or from Shane's house to the woods. And if anybody has ever went hunting with Colton before, you will know that he is not the most graceful in the woods. It's like he's walking around with 2 left feet. He likes to fall down, and he spends a lot of time looking for earthworms while he's down there. He's laughing because he knows it's true. The kid spends more time on the ground than he does on his feet. So we had just got done shining a tree, and we're walking back to the Ranger. And it is an open field. There's no obstructions in our way.
There were corn stalks.
This was a cut cornfield. There was about, a foot of corn stubble left. And there happened to be some water in the cornfield.
Yeah, 6 feet.
Well, what Colton is exaggerating about is it was only 6 inches of water. And Colton had managed to somehow, instead of walking through the rows of corn, he got tripped up on some corn stalks and he went face first into this puddle of water. And I say puddle, it was probably a 50 by 50 area. And then he tried to stand up, and Basham, would you know it? It happened again. He went right back down. And it's freezing cold. There's ice on the ground. And he stands up a third time, and he slips and he falls again. This kid looked like a fish out of water, drowning in 6 inches of water in the middle of a cornfield.
The third time, when I fell, I got a corn stalk to the chest.
He took a corn stalk to the chest, so then...
Oh, man.
So then he's crying, he's cold, he's wet, and we're in Shane's Ranger. So... like I said, it's cold, and he's soaking wet, head to toe. The poor kid, he toughs it out all the way back to Shane's house. The hunt was over for the night. He didn't have nothing home to ride in, so luckily I had a towel in the dog box. This kid had to strip down. He rode home in nothing but a towel. All because he couldn't stand on his 2 feet in the middle of a cornfield. I love it. So I always get a kick out of that. Me and Shane laugh about that quite regularly. So
It's definitely a good way to end this podcast in the fact of just sharing those memories and putting them out there and keeping them alive. And Colton, we will always know you as Butterfeet.
yep, old Butterfeet.
They also call me
Butterfeet.
When we're at restaurants, they also call me Butterfingers.
He always Butterfingers too. Yeah,
You're Butter something. We're just going to call you Butter.
little butterball.
We're just going to call you Butter. That's his new nickname, Butter.
All right, guys. Well, for me, Basham, and old Butterball, we appreciate you listening to the Simper Doggin podcast. Guys, I'm good. Basham, you good?
Till next time, guys. Don't tree them all.
Butterball, you good?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to sign off here. We'll catch you at the next Doggin Tuesday. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
We all know that canines can take us to some wild places, and some of those are only accessible by an off-road vehicle. No matter how hard you try to maintain your ride, something is bound to break on one of your adventures. When you find yourself looking for replacement parts, or maybe even a few upgraded parts to further try and prevent a breakdown, look no further than Never Satisfied Off-Road. Joey Goforth is the proud new owner of Never Satisfied Off-Road and is ready to serve you. Performance accessories such as lift kits, portals, tires, and more can all be found at Never Satisfied Off-Road. Located in Covington, Tennessee, the team at Never Satisfied Off-Road is ready to ship parts and accessories for your ride anywhere in the country. As their new website is currently being built, be sure to follow them on Facebook at Never Satisfied Off-Road 23 to keep up to date on the hottest items and sales. Give them a call at 731-693-9921 to place your order and get your ride ready to follow your canine wherever they may take you. Are you ready for the best part though? Mention that you heard this ad on the Simper Doggin podcast and you will receive a Simper Doggin approved listener discount.